This seems like as good a time as any to welcome you to the AV Geeks at the Hunt Library, not at the Hunt Library. I'm Jason Evans Groth, amongst media myself right now, digital media librarian at NC State University Libraries. This is our 14th, that's 1 and 14th semester of this series, partnering NC State University folks with Raleigh's AV Geeks to discuss vintage educational and classroom films. As a reminder, Skip Elsheimer, who is the founder of AV Geeks, is an NC State University alum. He has been for the last few decades collecting films made throughout the last century, mostly 16mm educational training and other sorts of how-to movies. He does an incredible job sharing them with the world, currently housing over 36,000 such films at the AV Geeks archive here in Raleigh, North Carolina, and shares them as stock footage for films and exhibits, as research material, and during public events like this. So today's theme is Let's Hear It for Soundies, and we're thrilled to welcome our guest, Aaron Dial. Aaron is a PhD candidate at North Carolina State University in the Communication, Rhetoric, and Digital Media program, with expertise in materialist and digital media studies, digital humanities, and cultural studies of technology and race. These areas of expertise inform Aaron's research and teaching interests, which broadly sketched are Black studies, effective labor, popular culture, urban spaces and temporal flows, and the nexus between sports and science and technology. Right now, Aaron's working on his dissertation entitled Dead Stock, a philosophy of sneakers and materiality in the afterlife of Black bodies, which articulates the intimate and undiscussed connections between sneakers as material objects and Black bodies. He excavates sneakers from the strict confines of culture and fashion, asserting their existence as an object wherein bodies act and that acts upon bodies and spaces. The project hones the theoretical position that sneakers exist first and foremost as literal extensions of Black bodies, both sporting and cultural. That is, in sneakers, racialized imaginations of productive bodies are enlivened both as representative cultural fantasies and a collective reverie constellating the athletic possibilities of human potential. So, with that, a reminder that over 200 of AV Geeks compilations are available for checkout from right here in the D.H. Hill Jr. or the James B. Hunt Jr. libraries. You can also visit avgeeks.com or search for AV Geeks in YouTube or at our friends at archive.org. Skip, allow me to hand things off to you.
This is very exciting because I get to show Soundies. And Aaron, I explained to you off camera, but I'm going to explain to the audiences in case you don't know what Soundies are. I got a nice little graphic I found online. Thank you, Internet. This is what's called a panorama machine. And this is essentially was a visual jukebox. You can tell it's huge. And the idea was that if a club couldn't afford a band or didn't have the space for a band, this was a way to provide musical entertainment. You'd put in a dime and it would play a 16mm film that was rear projected, and it would be some musical act. And it could be someone famous, it could be someone you kind of don't know singing something famous, it could be a bunch of girls dancing, it could be a variety of different things. You didn't get to choose what you're going to see. It was basically on a loop, and whatever was next on the loop is what you got to see. Aaron made the point that we figured out that a dime back in 1940, when this was first introduced, was almost $2. So that's a lot of money you're pumping in, hoping to get that song that you wanted to hear. So they made these machines from 1940 to about the beginning of World War II, when there was a big demand for scrap metal for the war effort. And so the Mills Novelty Company, which was based in Chicago, they stopped making these machines but they continued to make film content with a variety of different acts up till around 1947. And this concept kind of went away. And what Aaron and I were talking about was the idea that it was probably because they couldn't keep up with popular music and the teenagers. So basically, these places that had these machines probably ended up getting jukeboxes, which had more opportunity to play newer and hipper stuff. But this concept came back again in the 60s with a company a French company, which made Scopatones, and the films were in color, and you got to pick what film you could watch. So that was, more like a jukebox. So what we're going to do is I kind of ran past some ideas of some films, and Aaron picked this. And this is a compilation that was released kind of probably around the same time as the Soundies, probably after World War II. And it was released for home use. And so these films would show up in libraries, homes, other places that had films. And the theme of this, it's actually called Jump and Jive, or Jazz and Jive. So it's all performers of color, which is not really the case for the vast majority of Soundies. We're going to get started with a hit song. And those of you that are watching on YouTube, we might get slammed by the copyright hammer. So I'm going to put in some other links that you can watch us on, just in case, because these are popular songs and they're lip syncing to these songs. So here we go. Let's get started. Let me switch everything over.
Must take the A train to go to Sugar Hill way up in Harlem. If you miss the A train, you'll find you missed the quickest way to Harlem. Hurry, get on now, it's coming. Listen to those rails are thrumming. All aboard, get on the A train. Soon you will be on Sugar Hill in Harlem. You take your baby to Harlem, you're bound to find the hall up on Sugar Hill, where everyone's having a solid ball. You board that A train, and then you ride till you dig this number, 145th Street, where all the cats meet, posing on the stroll. Pops are really in there. Ba-da-doo-da-da-da-doo-day. That's the riff that the bands all play. It's groovy, the hep cats say. Then you know that you're in Harlem. You got to get on that A train, and you will get a thrill. Yeah, if you're looking for a rhythm, you'll find it on Sugar Hill. Now that you know just how to get up there, dig up a nickel and you got your fare. If you want to go to Happy Harlem, you take the A train that goes uptown and ride. Wait until you get on Sugar Hill. You jump for joy till you get your fill. Have you got your nickel in your hand? Then hurry, don't you miss that train, old man. Yes, you must take the A train. That A train. You make it on time. Go to Sugar Hill way up in Harlem. Better hurry, get aboard that train.
Aaron, did you want to comment on that?
Yeah. First, I want to thank you guys for
You're
have.
muted.
Am I still muted? Am I muted? Can you hear me?
Oh no, wait, no, you're not muted. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, first I want to thank you guys for having me here. This is a really really cool thing that you guys do. So I'm honored to be here. Second, yeah. One, I think the first thing I thought about was the work of Joel Dinnerstein. He has a book called Swinging the Machine, which is all about sort of the role of jazz and sort of translating sort of the more technical aspects of modern life, of modernity to the masses, right? And jazz does that through train sounds, right? And this song by the Delta Rhythm Boys, right, is all about sort of taking the train to Harlem, right? And you hear them saying the choo choo choo, which I thought was really really cool. But I think like more than that though, the first thing I thought about is sort of how much like I love suits and I love sort of fashion of that day, and like I miss wearing suits just because of COVID. Like it's no reason I'm wearing a hoodie now, but like there's no real reason to wear the suit anymore, and that's sort of sad to me. Yeah, and then also I think and you get this idea of sort of black fashion when they talk about sort of going to quote unquote the stroll, right? And like there was like sort of strolls all over sort of urban centers, because this is sort of in the latter parts of the Great Migration. Like Chicago had a famous stroll, Harlem, of course, right? And that's where sort of black people would go and like show off the new fit, show off the new gear, right? And like you see that like with all the women are dressed to the nines, so are the men. I mean, even the lead singer, the conductor, he looks fly, right? Everyone's suited and booted, if you will, and they're all sort of headed to Harlem to go party, right? To go have a good time. So yeah, no, I think this was like a really really cool cool song, a song I'd never heard of until today. Yeah, so yeah, I guess those are my initial thoughts, Skip.
The next film we're going to watch is Fats Waller. And I noticed some people are noticing like the sync on the audio is a little off. Well, some of that is because of the internet, and some of that, with at least with Fats Waller, is because the performers would get paid probably, I don't know, $20, probably get a night's pay performance to film these things, and they were supposed to lip sync along with a recording, and Fats Waller couldn't be bothered. When he performed, he kind of put himself into it, and so each performance was a little bit different. He might change up the lyrics, he might do whatever. So you might notice that his lips are moving to something that's not being played on the audio. And that's, I think, is the wonder of some of these performers, is that it's capturing their performance, even though they're not singing and playing necessarily, or at least they're not being mic'd. They are performing, and I think that's what this technology offered, was a musical performance. I mean, in that last one, not only did we have this wonderful ensemble singing, we also had dancing girls, and so the club didn't have to worry about like paying the performers or paying the dancing girls, and or have a stage for that. So the idea of this is that you would have your drink, you'd be with your lady and or with your friends, and you would watch this entertainment and be entertained. So here is Fats Waller, who is one of my personal favorites, actually, with Your Feet's Too Big.
Mine too.
Way up in Harlem at a table for two, there was four of us, me, your big feet, and you. From your ankles up, you sure are neat. Yes, But from that down exactly too much feed. Yes, your feed's too big. Can't stand you 'cause your feed's too big. Say I can't tolerate you 'cause your feed's too big. John inquired, what feed what? How's that for a vocal? Ain't it a killer? Where'd you get 'em? Your gal, she loves you. She thinks you're nice. She claims you got everything to take you to paradise. Ain't that a killer? She likes your loving. She likes your rig. Ah. But man, oh man, them things is too big. Yes, your feed's too big. Can't stand you 'cause your feed's too big. Say I can't tolerate you, nay, 'cause your feet's too big. Cedric, on your feet and earn your salary, son, blow. Play that doghouse music. I love it. That's it. Give me the growl. Say your pedal extremities are colossal, but to me you ain't nothing but an old fossil. Yes, you got me walking, talking, and squawking, 'cause your feet's too big. Yes, your feet's too big. Can't stand you 'cause your feet's too big. Say I can't tolerate you, I really hate you, 'cause your feet's too big. In fact, your pedal extremities are a bit obnoxious. Where did you get them, son? Where did you get them? One never knows, do one.
Right, Aaron.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh wow. First things first, like the line, your pedal extremities are colossal, may be one of the best lines I've ever heard. That is, oh my gosh. If somebody said that to me, I would cry like that. Oh my gosh. Fast Waller with the jokes. Oh my god. I feel like this song had to have come from like he was inspired by like someone he knew, and they knew that this song was about them. He knew the song was about them, and he's performing the song, and him and his family have to live with this, that so and so's pedal extremities are colossal, and the world knows it for the rest of like eternity, and that is. I don't know. That is so funny to me. But yeah, BSK, like that's the one thing I thought of. I also thought of, I don't know if you remember the song, was it Randy Newman, Short People? Like this sort of made me think of that song by Randy Newman, just in and for those of you who haven't heard Randy Newman, Short People, I would say give it a listen. If you're short, you will not be a fan. And that's the long and short of it. But yeah, no. And I'm curious, Skip. Like, where does this song rate on your sort of? You said Fast Waller is one of your favorites. I'm curious, like, where does this song rate in your mind in his catalog?
Well, I like this. The reason that I like this song is because you can actually see him perform it, and so it makes it come alive in my mind.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that. So this song is up there pretty high, and he's just such a character. He's just the way I mean, he knows how to play for the camera,
Yeah, yeah,
which really, just kind of the like, making the faces and all that stuff, and it just makes me realize like what a performer he was. Like that's what this is. This is visually performative. Like he's certainly a
yeah.
wonderful musician and singer, but the fact that he's visually interesting and he's playing in a way that engages you, um, that's pretty great.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
probably why.
no, yeah. I think to your point, you definitely get the sort of star quality that I think was missing in the Delta Rhythm Boys that sort of Fats Waller sort of has like he is like when he is sort of on screen, he is like sort of like a magnetic presence, right? You can't take your eyes off of him. And I guess Skip, I have another question for you, and something that I was thinking about, sort of just thinking about the context of the song, right? Do you think Fats? Do you think? I guess if we're assuming Fats Waller is the sort of the subject of the song, the person singing about this person with these big feet, right? Is he singing about the big feet because this guy's feet are too big and it's just funny, or is he singing about the big feet because he is jealous that this guy has these big feet and he's with this sort of beautiful woman who loves him? Because like you have the guy come in with the big feet, he has two ladies on his arm or whatever, and then Fast Wallace talking about his big feet. So I wonder if there's a sort of hint of jealousy there. I wonder what you think about that.
Maybe, and not to get too explicit, but is this a euphemism?
Oh yeah, yeah, no, yeah, yeah, of course, yeah, no, no, and that is something that crossed my mind too. Is like, was this a euphemism? Because there is like a sort of cheeky sort of moment, like in his eyes or whatever, and then you have the thing where the woman gives him the shoes, right? Yeah, so no, yeah, and then you have the dancing. I think could be, but yeah, no, I was thinking about that as well.
Right. And there are some soundies that are a little naughty, like might
Mhm.
have a little bit of nudity, or will definitely have songs that have, innuendo and double entendres in them. And so, potentially this is something, this would be a crowd favorite in that regard. It's a funny adult song.
Yeah, yeah. And something that we talked about before, like before the stream, I guess, became live, is I think what these soundies do, right, is sort of provide a sort of historical longevity to the medium of music video that I think most like the common person maybe didn't realize, right? Because I mean these are like music video. I mean, because often in music videos, artists are sort of not sort of, or they're performing their songs, but the audio you hear is not sort of the audio of them actually singing live. It's a sort of recorded audio that they're sort of like lip syncing or doing whatever to it, right? It's a sort of more like a distended sort of performance,
Right.
which I think is really cool. And also something that we talked about, and I guess we could talk about this too, is sort of like this all gives me sort of proto Tiny Desk vibes.
Huh.
I'm actually, and like I'm a big Tiny Desk fan, and I've done the sort of thing where like I will sort of have Tiny Desk sort of playing on YouTube in the background, or I can just watch Tiny Desk for forever or whatever. I think it's a sort of just a fascinating concept, right? That a lot of sort of, I think, like I guess more than NPR is sort of trying to replicate the sort of idea of the sort of intimate concert, right? The sort of this concert that you are sort of, you feel privileged to see, not because of the person, but because of the space and the sort of interactions with the crowd or
Right.
whatever. But yeah. So no, I like this is definitely giving me sort of Tiny Desk vibes in a sort of very sort of intimate way.
Right.
Um,
And that's the thing is to think about is the fact that it was shown on a screen that was smaller than most big screen TVs nowadays,
yeah,
in a club, and probably not a big club. So it would be kind of the smaller, intimate type of setting. It wouldn't be this
yeah,
vast stage. And I think that the camera, when they do camera work, it's rare that it goes to a big set, a big stage. It's all kind of confined. And that could be because they just didn't have the budget for a big set. Or it could be that someone was thoughtful and said, well, the screen's going to be small, so we want everything to kind of be seem more intimate.
Yeah.
So, are we ready to watch some Count Basie?
Yes.
All right.
Take me back, baby, you're all I'm craving for. Take me back, baby, please let me have once more. The keys on my key ring that opens your front door. Take me back, baby, I'm kinda plump, that's true. Take me back, baby, here's what I'm gonna do. I'll go on a diet until my shape suits you. Or you take me back, baby, oh honey, you're so sweet. Or you take me back, baby, that makes my life complete. I won't need these numbers of other gals on this street.
All right, Aaron. What
So like the first thing I want to talk about sort of really has nothing to do with the count, I guess. It's I want to talk about like the black book that he had with the numbers. And it's interesting. I'm not sure if anybody's ever sort of thought about like this, but and he has the line like I won't need the numbers of all these other girls on the street. Like the black book became this sort of like sexual localized surveillance or whatever. Like he had like all the women on the book, their numbers, and then he had like a sort of like
a rating system.
Yeah, rating system. Like I mean, because and the one I know is I believe her name was Hortense. He had hot and cold. It was very specific. Like he was not like this is a sort of organized regime, regime of surveilling women, right? But yes, and so I think that's sort of like really, really interesting. It's almost like a sort of, I guess maybe a proto Tinder profile. I'm not sure how to.
Thanks for making it contemporary, man. Because I was like, because I haven't dated. I'm way married, so I haven't dated in a long time, so I don't know what.
Yeah. I am. I am happily married as well. But yeah, no, I mean, but I mean, it is. I mean, like it feels like a tent. Like he had all these women. Like some of them were cold, but he had the number or whatever, and he's like, okay, like I guess maybe like they'll end up swiping right or whatever eventually. For those who don't know, swiping right is that's I guess the thing you want. But no, but also I think this song is sort of really fun. I sort of got caught up in the sort of I think like body politics of sort of like just sort of being fat and black and being a man. Like he has his line like I'm kind of plump. That's true. I'll go on a diet just for you or whatever. Um, yeah, no, and there is a book, and I'm blanking on the author's name right now, but it's called Fearing the Black Body, and it's all about it's all about sort of understanding race at the intersection of sort of like fat phobia or whatever, and the author does a great job of sort of articulating how sort of our sort of understandings of fatness being bad, right, is one relatively new, but two based on the sort of presence of blackness, right? Like because in the like during the Renaissance period, we always saw in very sort of widely revered artistic paintings chubby bodies, right? And round plump women were sort of thought to be beautiful, right? And it wasn't until the sort of influx of the African slave and those round bodies start to come in, particularly women, that sort of started to sort of change, right? And women started to be, okay, I have to be sort of skinny. But yeah, but no, I think it's I guess, but like back to the song though, I think it's really funny. He has like he does I don't know if you noticed this, Skip. He does like when he finally gets in the house, he like the woman goes in to hug him, but he like belly bumps her. It's like a weird moment. I'm just like, what is going on? Yeah, no, like it's a cool song. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
I think they're playing some of this for laughs.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and the thing is, like with other soundies that I've seen, they sometimes will have these little skits during this that kind of play out like aspects of the song, and they'll give either an opportunity for like a woman to be dancing or whatever. And so it's great to kind of see that same level of production with
yeah,
this. And also trying to be clever and try to be kind of funny, and chances are he bumped her because they were like, well, you're a big guy, and so let's make fun of that. let's make light of the fact
yeah.
that you're a big guy and you want to hug this girl, but your belly's too big and you're bumping her away. I mean, that's how a lot of the other soundies play it, as
Yeah.
far as that visual humor.
And then going back, I guess to the economics of this, like for these past three videos, they have to have been less than a minute. Like you're paying $2 for like what is essentially like 45 seconds of content, which is highway robbery. Like that is a lot, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, like, but like I feel like with each of these soundies, right, with the Delta Rhythm Boys, with Fat Swaller, and with Count Basie, right, to your point, you are getting like no performer is sort of half-assing it or mailing it. They're giving you like theater, they're giving you like drama, they're giving you a full orchestra, like you're getting a lot, right? Like you're getting costumes, you're getting dancing girls, right? So I mean, so you are getting a lot for that $2, right? And I guess that makes sense, right? And that seems to be, I guess, maybe a sort of more intentional choice that like, okay, 10 cents is a lot of money, right? We can't just have these people just like standing up, like singing their song. It has to be bigger than that.
Nice. All right, so this next one is Preacher and the Bear, featuring I'm going to mispronounce this, the Jubilaires, and they were a quartet.
Awesome name.
together that only time religion? Why don't you gather that only time religion, brother? It's good enough for me, my Lord. That's the only time religion, brother. That's the only time religion. Why don't you gather that the only time religion, brother? It's good enough for me. Yes, just come on, brothers, if you want to hear a story about that preacher and the bear. Gather round, boys, I don't want you to miss none of this here story, cause it goes like this. A preacher, he went out to hunting. It was on one Sunday morning. Though he was one Christian young man, but he took his gun along. Well, the first thing he shot was a bunch of fine quails, and he shot him a nice fat hare. Then through the woods on his way back home, he met a great big grizzly bear. Then the Reverend fell down upon his knees. He sent up a great long prayer, whilst he cast one eye to the heaven on high, but kept the other eye on the bear. He said, the Lord delivered Daniel from the lion den, Jonah from the belly of the whale. The three Hebrew boys from the fiery furnace, said a good book do declare. Now look here, Lord, if you don't help me, don't you go to helping that bear. He needed that the only time religion. He needed that the only time religion. He needed that the only time religion. Brother, it's good enough for me, my Lord. That the only time religion, brother. That the only time religion. Why don't you give me that the only time religion, brother? It's good enough for me. Yes, then the bear walked out in the middle of the road. Up to the Reverend walks he. That Reverend laid his religion down. He climbed up a tall pine tree. Yes, he climbed way up to the top of that tree and climbed out on a limb, whilst the bear sits down so endlessly and licked his mouth at him. Around about 3 o'clock, the old limb broke. Reverend came tumbling down. Boy, he grabbed his knife, he cut the bear 10 times before he struck the ground. He needed some only time religion. He needed some only time religion. He needed some only time religion, brother. It's good enough for me, my Lord. That's the only time religion, brother. That's the only time religion. Why don't you give me that only time religion, brother? It's good enough for me. Yes, then the bear reached out to give the Reverend a hug like you would hug a long-lost friend. But old Reverend put on that disappearing act. He went splitting through the wind. Old Reverend went to running like an old hound dog, trying to overtake a hare. He went home at the bed and took 6 naps before his shadow got there. He had that only time religion. He had that only time religion. He had that only time religion, brother. It's good enough for me, my Lord. That only time religion, brother. That only time religion. Why don't you give me that only time religion, brother? It's good enough for me. See, brother, the preacher made a touchdown.
And an extra one there.
Yeah, so that the one by was it Preacher and the Bear?
Yeah.
Was that the first one? That was a really weird one. One because like they were performing I guess with the backdrop of 2 American flags and a picture of Abe Lincoln, and I don't know why. Like I don't know who that was for, and I think you asked this question maybe before the start, but I think it's important to bring up now, right? Is sort of who are these videos for Black audiences, or are they for white audiences, right? Like this is like between sort of 1940 and 1947. That is a sort of a very intentional choice with sort of material consequences, right? And at first, I think the first three sort of videos, sort of Fats Waller, the Delta Rhythm Boys, and Count Basie Orchestra, right? Those seem to be, I guess maybe sort of for Black audiences, right? But this one, like with the American flags and the picture of Abe Lincoln, like it just spoke to me as sort of a picture of like racial respectability politics propaganda almost. Like honestly, I have never seen, I've never seen like it was weird. It was just striking, right? And then sort of on the flip side, you had the children's choir, right? And they seemed sort of like this picture of sort of maybe sort of Blackness in days gone by, like they seem a little more destitute. Like, yeah, the boy in the back with the open shirt or whatever, they are not as put together as the other four bands before them, right? And it gives you a sort of Blackness sort of qua poverty, qua like destitution of sort of like Reconstruction era Blackness or whatever. And I think one thing we should sort of, I think, highlight when it comes to sort of like the sort of visual presentation of Blackness through fashion, right, is that jazz, I guess one of the sort of undersung but really important thing about jazz, right, is that jazz became the way that a lot of Americans, especially white Americans, saw the Black body in a suit, right? Like, and that can't be sort of understated, like through sort of like magazine advertisements, through stuff like this, like that, like seeing a Black person in a suit was a novel consideration, right? And I think to have this sort of the children's choir there, and they are sort of obviously not in suits and obviously like sort of dressed to sort of present a sort of look of destitution, as I said earlier, I think is really a sort of intentional and important choice. And I guess important to think about. But yeah, I wonder what you thought of the two videos, Skip.
So I did a little bit of research on the Jubilaires because I was like, wow, that voice, that quartet sounds really familiar. And I was like, did they do Dem Dry Bones? And they did not. But they did do Praise the Lord and Pass the Ammunition. And they were a gospel group. Okay. And so a lot of their songs dealt with, songs, stories from the Bible. But they did cross over. They were on Arthur Godfrey's CBS radio show in 1946. And that's, you want to talk about a white audience.
Yeah.
So they did kind of cross over to white audiences. And so I think it's very interesting that I wonder if this was for general audiences. It's like, oh, well, they are, they're singing something respectable. They're kind of singing kind of a funny song about a preacher, and not about picking up ladies like some of the other songs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, maybe this was for general audiences. And unfortunately, I can't find any information about the Ring Those Bells song by the Cabin Kids. There wasn't even a title for it.
Yeah,
so I don't
it wasn't.
know anything about it, but it does kind of seem like, dressed in like post restoration, like almost like Depression era. These kids live out in the country, and we have these country kids coming out and singing a sweet tune for us. I see similar things with Soundies that were for country performers. Like, oh, we have these little kids and they're from the country and they come out and they're dressed like they're hillbillies.
Okay.
And so, but I don't know anything else about it. And I was trying to do a little bit of research while we were watching it to the name, and we're not even sure if it really is the Cabin Kids, but that's what it's attributed to. And I kind of wonder, is that, would that last song, would that be for all audiences, or would that be, specifically for audiences of color? and kind of them singing a song that's like, oh, that's like what we used to sing in church, or that's what we used to do, back when I was in Alabama before I came to the big city. I'm not sure if there's a nostalgia there or if it's, kind of fulfilling the stereotype. I'm not sure which one it is.
Yeah, no, and actually sort of, I guess, thinking about the sort of audience as a sort of providing like sort of like a material context to these performances, right? I think I maybe want to sort of recalibrate what I was thinking about the Jubilaires, right? Is that sort of like, because if this is sort of, let's say that this sort of happened in 1940, this is one of the first sort of Soundies, right? The Civil War ended what, in 1860? It was like six. It's the 64, right? That's what, like, what, 80 years? That is not that far removed from the Civil War, right? And I think sort of, one, we have to sort of realize that, like, America, like, obviously now, like we can think about sort of, and not to get too political, like, America has sort of deep sort of political divisions, right? But then, right, like this is like, the South was still the South, right? So I imagine having a picture of Abraham Lincoln at your back, right, is like almost like a middle finger to, like, this sort of, it could be read as a middle finger to sort of Southern audiences, if this even got to Southern audiences, right? And I think that is sort of, I guess, maybe sort of providing a sort of maybe counter narrative to the sort of respectability of the, I guess, the sort of sheen or veneer of respectability that's in that sort of performance, right? And then I guess, to your point about them being church performers, right? It does feel like they are performing in front of a church. They have this sort of very sort of church-looking lectern that they're standing behind, right? It feels like they're in front in a pulpit and there's a congregation, right? And everyone's dressed up. So it does feel like, I get dressed up in a way that sort of feels spiritual, not like how, like, Count Basie and Fats Waller were sort of dressed up, that feels sort of more flamboyant and secular.
Right. All right. So we got one more. And this is Anastine Allen, accompanied by the Lucky Millilander and his orchestra, 1943, I Want a Man.
Send me, sweet chariot, for the end of that trouble I see. Old rocking chair gets said, Judgment Day is here. Into my rocking chair. Old rocking chairs got you by the, and my cane is by my side. Yes, your cane by your side. Now fetch me that old gin, son. Ain't got no gin by the, or I tan your hide now. You're gonna tan my hide. You know I can't get from this old cabin. What cabin, jogging? And I ain't going nowhere. Why ain't you going nowhere? Well, just sit me here grabbing at these flies round this old rocking chair. Rocking chair. And now, old rocking chair gets it, son. Rocking chair get it, father. And Judgment Day is here. Your Judgment Day is here. And I'm chained to my old rocking chair.
All right, so that obviously was not I Want a Man. And next on my track list it said it was a woman playing harp playing Swanee River, and that obviously was not Swanee River. So my track list went errant at some point. But so the old rocking chair, that was the Mills Brothers. I figured that out. The harpist, I have no idea who it is, and I'm not sure what song she was playing, but it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I want to start with the harpist. Skip, have you heard of something called the stank face?
No.
So that's when like you hear something so good it just makes you want to just make that scrunch of your nose. She was freaking that harp, man. She was killing it. That was incredible. I mean, like to see like the sort of decks. I mean, and like, and I think the sort of like the camera was just good enough that you can really get a sense of like the finger dexterity, the agility, the timing, or whatever. And like I feel like obviously there are people who still play the harp, but like that is a very rare thing. And like if you can really play the harp, that's like, oh, I can, like you can sort of like I feel you could always make money playing the harp. Like somebody will pay to see you play the harp. I mean, she was really, really cool. That one was the only one I think like a real sort of special effect, had that sort of kaleidoscopic sort of effect, which I thought was really, really cool. Because I mean, she was just killing that harp, which like it was awesome. And then who'd you say the group was before that wasn't
The Mills Brothers?
The Mills Brothers. That was, I think, another sort of, just from a sort of musical taste perspective, that was one of, like a favorite song that we've heard of mine, at least, or whatever. I thought the sort of back and forth between the father and the son was sort of beautifully done. And it was touching because like the song seemed to be about a father realizing that he is at the end of his life and he cannot move from this rocking chair. And there's something sort of as a person who has an older dad, right? There's something sort of like immensely touching and then also sad about that, or I guess melancholy is probably a better word, that I thought sort of really, really resonated through. I will say in the video, I did not understand the girls rocking. I did not understand their purpose as we just want to have pretty women rocking us.
Yeah, you just want to have pretty women.
Yeah, like they're just rocking. They're even rocking the sun. I'm like, but yeah. So yeah, no, I thought those were really, really cool.
Nice. Yeah, and yeah, so I have no idea who the harpist was, but yeah, you made a good point as far as somebody thought, you know what, this is too static of an image. You know, even though she's getting into it, we need to jazz it up a little for, and so they had the little kaleidoscope lens on it to make it a little bit more fancy.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I think even like maybe, I mean, like I guess maybe a sort of different perspective, like maybe not making it more fancy, but sort of like we have to do something to sort of, because we are not going to like move from her, right? And we want people to sort of take in this sort of magical experience that they're sort of hearing, which is really cool. And I'm curious, right? Because sort of like we said, like from the outset of this, like this is not sort of like we're not hearing her play, right? Which I think is sort of also really, really sort of interesting, like that I guess she's playing the song, and I guess do we know what the song was called?
No idea.
Okay, and she's playing the song, and I'm curious like what it sounded like live. I mean, I have so many questions or whatever. I mean, because I mean, like from the finger movement, like she was playing the song, like just she was playing that song, but I don't know anything about the harp. So I mean, like we would need a sort of harpist say, are these the right notes or whatever? But like, it was amazing to watch.
Yeah, yeah. And so this is what passed for visual entertainment in the early 40s. You know, before television, there was basically radio, going to a theater and seeing a movie, or watching a soundie in a bar somewhere. So you were talking about, you had mentioned before we went on, like the idea that do music videos, are they obsolete? did you want to expound on that a little bit before we go?
Yeah, no, like I think it's interesting, right? So I think sort of most of the audience sort of remembers or in some way sort of informed by MTV, and then maybe depending on who you are and how you grew up, BET, right? And the sort of fixture they had on sort of the American teenage, early adult sort of audience, or as a sort of pop culture sort of like zeitgeist moment. Like you had this sort of afternoon countdown shows, like everyone remembers sort of TRL with Carson Daly, right? I remember as well 106 in Park with several hosts, but most famously AJ and Free, right? They had this sort of the countdown of the videos, right? And also you just had videos, right? And now like the music video, while there are still music videos, right? Like so this is not saying that like the music video has gone away. They are not on TV, right? And like you have to go on YouTube to find music videos, and that means that like just do that. And this like understand the apparatus of YouTube, right? You're not like you are actually sort of saying I am looking for this particular artist's music video, right? It's not like a sort of like random sort of stream of music videos. Oh, that's new. I never knew that before, or I never seen that before, right? Which I think is really interesting, right? And then we also talked about sort of like if we're sort of buying this idea that sort of music videos, or at least diminishing, right? That you have these sort of intense video stars still, like Beyonce, right? Beyonce most recently had the thing on Disney Plus, the Black is King thing, which is, and again, and as I was telling you guys, I think music video for Beyonce may be a sort of a label that sort of diminishes what that actually is, right? And even to think of like Lemonade and all those other things, right? I'm not sure if music video is to scale for describing what she does. But yeah, like I mean, like it is very interesting. Like music videos are, I think, maybe more ubiquitous and easier to find than ever, but at the same time, they are sort of harder to find there. Like if you want to find a music video, you kind of have to know you're looking for that music video, right? You're not just it's not just sort of popping up. Like how, like I remember watching, like for example, like we had like BT and BT show like stuff on like 106 Park. Then they have like regular program, and then they have like like sort of like later like videos in the evenings or whatever. And then like I remember like, and this will date me some or whatever. Like I remember like Saturdays at like 2:00 in the morning they had videos. We had this show called, oh god, what was it called? Like BT Uncut, and they would show like underground like rap videos and also videos with sort of more scantily clad women, right? But that was like me and my sort of male friends like would get together sometimes. Hey, we're gonna watch BT Uncut tonight, right? And this is like 14-year-old Aaron, right, and his 14-year-old friends, right, would do that, right? And that sort of, I remember that show sort of, I guess, most infamously started the sort of controversy with Nelly and his video Tip Drill, and the sort of controversy with Spelman College where they would not let him perform because that video was essentially a sort of cavalcade of fetishizing the African-American female body, right? In ways that were sort of gross and would be sort of really, really, actually, I'm not sure if it would be really, really outlandish today, but it was definitely outlandish then. But yeah, so like I don't know. I think that like this sort of exercise allows us to question sort of just like what is the role or the purpose of the music video today? Like what does it serve? One, as a sort of cultural sort of object, but two, I mean, these are like music videos essentially are sort of commercials that drive sort of sales, right? Like do music videos push the needle for sort of album for album, I guess, maybe not sales, but streams and song streams and stuff like that. And this is something like I'm curious about. I guess I don't have answers to, but it just
well, I should say this, that I just did research, and the top 5 most watched YouTube videos are all music videos.
Really? What are they?
Yeah. Well, the first one you could argue is not, but it is. It's Baby Shark Dance.
Yeah, it's a music video. That's one.
um, Despacito.
Yep, that's
Um,
Despacito.
Johnny,
Despacito.
yeah, Johnny Johnny Yes Papa. Shape of You.
I'm
See
curious.
You Again.
Wait. I was gonna say, is the last one "See You Again" with Wiz Khalifa and I think Charlie Puth? Is that the last one?
Yeah,
The one. That's the one sort of memorializing Paul Walker, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
if you think about it, like the first video that ever hit 1 billion views was Gangnam Style.
Yep.
So it seems like it has moved from cable television to um, YouTube.
Yeah. No. And I think from that perspective, right? I think you're right. Right. But I think to me, MTV and I guess just those music video shows, right, was not necessarily about the sort of big, huge star, right? It was about everything else. It was about all the other stars, right? Getting and so I'm curious, sort of like the point of the music videos for like maybe the mid tier singer, the lower tier singer, or the independent art, does that video do those videos sort of actually sort of result to sort of any sort of uptick in notoriety, in sort of the economics of their music, right. So I mean, I think because all those stars you named, all those music videos you named were at one point like big stars, like Wiz Khalifa and Charlie Puth are still very big stars. Psy, the guy who did Gangnam Style, he's still a big star in Korea, right? Where he's from, I believe it's Korea. And then Baby Shark is huge, 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 huge. Who else did you name? It was
Let me see. Let me click back to that link again. So is Ed Sheeran, Shape
Ed
of You,
Sheeran. Ed Sheeran, very, very big or whatever.
Lulu Kids, the Johnny Johnny Yes Papa, and
Okay.
Luis Fonsi.
Yeah, and yeah, and Luis Fonsi is a big sort of star in the sort of urban pop Latino world or whatever. Um,
So,
just curious. I'm curious with the Luis Fonsi, is the version that's like the number one, the with all the views. Is that the version with Justin Bieber, or is that just
I'm
the
not
regular?
sure. I don't know. It looks like, yeah. I can't tell. I mean, this is
Can't
a
tell.
Wikipedia list, so I'm not
Okay,
sure.
okay. So, and the reason why I asked is because Justin Bieber did a remix of that song that was, I think, maybe bigger in the States than sort of the actual song was, and gave the song sort of second legs, I think, and sort of and like really shot that song up into sort of
Right.
the stratosphere of this is a mega hit. So I'm just curious if it was that version.
Well, Aaron, this was great, man. I would love
Yeah,
to
thank
have
you.
you
It's
back
fun.
again. Maybe next semester we can watch
Happy to
some
do it.
more and talk about some of these things. Just the idea that you writing the book about athletic shoes. I could
Yeah.
maybe pick up a bunch of athletic shoes commercials and we can talk about
Oh, that would be fantastic. Yeah, that would be right up my alley. Yeah. So no, but Skip, thank you so much for having me. This was a blast to do. Yeah, this was really fun.
All right, Jason, you gonna close this out?
Yeah, I guess this is the goodbye that everyone's been waiting for. First of all, thanks again, Aaron, for doing this. It was cool to see. It was cool to hear. Skip, thank you so much for the work you always do on these things. A quick reminder to visit avgeeks.com for more info and to check out compilations. The physical collections are open, so you can borrow some DVDs straight out of the libraries if you like. Our next show is next month, and I'm just going to leave it like that. Our next show is next month, and we'll fix in post exactly what all those details are, which is great. So those of you watching live, pay attention, because next month at someday next month, we'll be having another show. And October shows are always the best. Fall, greatest season on earth. So we'll make something cool for y'all. Until then, though, You can watch previous videos. You can watch this one again at the through the library's website. So yeah, watch AV Geeks as much as you can, and then come see us here at the libraries too.